So, it's the day after Christmas. Fun stuff. And I'm just gonna get ready. So, I just washed my face. So I currently have nothing on it right now. I'm gonna start with Climate Control. Climate Control has hyaluronic acid in it, which is basically the purest form of hydration for your skin. And then I'm going to do anti-wrinkle treatment because my eye bags are pretty persistent. There it is. So for this, I just use a tiny little bead for both of my eyes. And just kind of massage it in there. Massaging is going to help relieve some of that fluid that's built up right there under your eyes. Alright, and then the last thing for skincare is my daytime moisturizer. So I'm going to use about half a pump for my whole face because I don't want my face to be oily since I have naturally oily skin. Alright, so I'm going to let that soak in for just a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead with my primer. So, what colors should I do today? This is always the hard part. So, I think I'm going to do a pretty basic eye look. So, I'm going to do Garnet, obviously, for my eyebrows. And then I'm going to do a little bit of Garnet on the outside, and then Mocha Java for the transition, and Sandstone Pearl Shimmer for the inside. So this is the look that I do most often. It's pretty easy. The colors are pretty simple. So it's really nice to have it for an everyday look. So that's kind of what I do. Alright, so I think my moisturizer is pretty set. So I'm going to go ahead with my primer, which is also called Silk, or Pore and Wrinkle Minimizer, which I'm almost out. So I do a full pump of that and put it all over my face, kind of like lotion. I think I might have only needed 3/4 of a pump, but that might have been too much. Okay, it was just cold in here. Now I'm warm. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do, so I'm going to cover these blemishes. So I'm going to use green concealer since these are red marks, because green is going to cancel out the red. So I'm just going to get some little dots. And then a little bit for the overall redness that shows up in my cheeks later in the day. Okay, and then I'm just going to take my brush and kind of stipple it in there. So it's not red anymore. And just like that, redness gone. Looks like I have a little one on my forehead too. Alright, and then foundation. I use the color Dewy. I use Original foundation. Oh my goodness, I'm a mess. I use the Original foundation since I have oily skin. The Original is better for oily skin, where our anti-aging is better for dry skin. And I'm just going to put it all over my face. same brush, and I'm just going to kind of do the same thing, stipple it on like I did with the concealer. I always thought foundation was the longest process of makeup. And then I started doing really intricate eyeshadows. And that is definitely the most time consuming. All the blending and the colors. So much time. And if you notice, I am avoiding my eyelids. I used to cover them with foundation. When I don't wear eyeshadows, I will cover my eyelids with foundation. But I've noticed that specifically with our eyeshadows, since they are like the long-lasting eyeshadows, they work better if they're applied directly to your eyelids instead of on top of makeup, like foundation. Alright, that looks pretty smooth. And then obviously I'm really pasty. So I go in with one of our blushes called Chocolate Cherry, and I'll do around my forehead, down the side a little bit, and a little contour, and then sometimes a little bit around my nose. So I'm going to do that in a second, but I'm going to do my eyebrows first. Actually, I think I'll do my eyeshadow first, after my eyebrows, before I do the blush. Especially when I do my mascara, I find myself resting my hands on my cheeks to make it a little more steady. And then I take off a little bit of the blush with my hand. Okay, so they're nice and brushed out. So I'm going to go in with my Garnet and do my eyebrows. I use an angled brush. This one is my favorite. And then I'm just going to kind of go to town. I like to outline them a little bit and then fill them in. Makes your lines a little bit bolder when you're done. I've noticed my eyebrows looked messy the last few weeks, and I'm not really sure why. I've been watching lots of YouTube videos trying to figure out different techniques and ways to make everything look better. And I've learned a lot. And of course, I will share them here with you guys. We have a little bit of working time with our shadows. We have about 2 to 3 minutes before they're set. And then they're pretty much not going anywhere. We do have an actual brow product called BlushSense. I have never used them. I've only seen other people have them. And I hear they work really well as well. But I use Garnet as eyeshadow, so I might as well use it for my eyebrows too, instead of spending more money to get a product that will do the same thing. And then I'm just going to blend them out a little bit with my little spoolie brush. In case there's any spots I missed, this will kind of fill them in a little bit. And then after I do my eyeshadow, I will go back in and conceal my brows so the lines look a little sharper. Alright, this one looks a little darker. Of course, they're never even. Close enough. Okay, moving on to the eyeshadow. So I'm going to start with Garnet, the same thing I just used for my eyebrows. I'm going to use it for the outside. So I'm going to make my little shape and then go and fill it in. And then I like to use this brush. It's really dirty, but I like to use this one. It's slightly fluffy to just blend it out. Okay, and then I'm going to use my big fluffy brush. So it's almost the same brush, it's just bigger. And then kind of blend out the ends so the lines aren't so harsh. Alright, and then it kind of tones down that brown too. And then of course I'll go back in later and fix some of those lines. So I'm just going to do the same thing with the other side. Actually, let me just finish this eye and then I'll do the other one. So I'm going to go in with Mocha Java, which is a little bit lighter brown than the Garnet. And I'm going to use this as my transition color between the Sandstone Pearl and the Garnet. So I'm going to use the same fat brush that I just used to blend this out. And just kind of blend it in so it transitions the colors a little bit better. When I do eyeshadows, I tend to work from outside to inside, but some people go inside to outside. It kind of depends on what colors you're doing, you know, which ones you want to show more. I like the shadow effect, I guess. So I'm going to go in with my Sandstone Pearl on the inside. This is Sandstone Pearl Shimmer, and I just took the stopper out, so it looks like this after you take the stopper out. They're nice and clean when you have the stoppers in, but I couldn't get much more product out, so I took the stopper out yesterday. That's a lot. I'm hoping it doesn't get super messy. Okay. So I'm going to use this brush. This one is really thin, also really dirty. I need to clean them. I meant to do it yesterday, but it was Christmas. Okay. So I'm just kind of flattening it out a little bit so it's pretty stiff. This one is very similar to the one I initially used with Garnet. It's just thinner. So it's about the same size, it's just thinner. And then I'm going to use it to move this Sandstone Pearl Shimmer. These are also the 3 of the most popular eyeshadow colors. And then of course Onyx, the color I'm going to use for my eyeshadow or my eyeliner, is our very most popular because so many people use it for eyeliner. Okay. And then I'm going to go in with a blending brush and just kind of smooth it out a little bit. So it kind of gives it the shadowed effect, I guess. So I'm going to go in with Original Sandstone Pearl. My sticker fell off, and that's what I'm going to conceal my brows with. A regular or natural concealer would work for the same purpose as well. And I'm going to go in with this brush, so very similar to the one I use for my eyebrows. It's just not angled. It's a straight brush rather than an angled brush. So right now I'm just trying to kind of give my eyebrows that really sharp look. So they look done even though they're not. Done as in like shaped and tweezed. They really need done. So I'm just kind of pulling it down into my eyeshadow a little bit. And then I'm going to go in with my blending brush. The same one I just used for the Sandstone Pearl. And kind of blend them together. To get rid of those harsh lines. I went a little crazy down here, so I'm just going to conceal that a little bit. Keep that shadow as close to my eye as I can. And blend. Let's get a little bit of a harsh line up there. And that's pretty much my normal eyeshadow look. If you wanted it to be a little bit darker, you could go in with the Mocha Java or the Garnet, either one, and kind of add a little bit more brown up here to give it more of that shadowed effect. But I like them to be pretty natural looking. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other eye so I don't look crazy. I'm going to start with my Garnet out in the corner. Make my little shape. Going in with my small fat brush. Blend that out a little bit. And then my fat, fluffy brush. No, my big fat brush. That was the small fat brush. Just kind of get rid of those harsh lines before it sets. Went a little crazy again. That's okay. We can fix it. And then Mocha Java for our transition. It's hard to believe that this started like that, huh? The Mocha Java really tones it down. If you wanted to stay dark, you could obviously just leave that and not do the Mocha Java. So, same brush, the large fat brush. Just kind of blend those two together. My blending brush to kind of get rid of those harsh lines. And again with the Sandstone Pearl Shimmer. So if you guys are wondering what kind of brushes to use, it depends on what products you use. So the vast majority of SeneGence products are liquid or cream. So specifically synthetic brushes are really, really good for cream or liquid products. So for instance, foundation. You would use a synthetic haired brush for foundation. All of my brushes are synthetic hair. None of them are real. Real hair is really good for powdered products. So for instance, if you guys have seen the new Kylie brushes that came out, the crazy expensive ones, I want to say they're chrome with like white hair. Hers are real hair brushes, and I watched a review on them, and the man that was doing it, he was using liquid products, and he hated them. And then when he switched to powdered products, so like with his setting powder and I think blush, he might have used, and bronzer, I think he used all powder products, and then he really started to like them. And the eyeshadows, of course, he he really liked them for that. So real hair brushes are really good for powdered products. So for instance, our translucid powder, that's still a synthetic brush, synthetic hair brush, because we're a cruelty-free company. However, real hair brushes are really, really good for, real hair brushes are good for powdered products. The brushes I use, synthetic brushes, are really good for cream products or liquid products, which is all of what I use pretty much, other than, of course, our setting powder. Our setting powder is the only, sorry, translucid powder. I use it as setting powder. That is our only powdered product. Okay, and this is the original Sandstone Pearl. The matte Sandstone Pearl, I suppose. Just gonna conceal this brown. This one's a little bit lighter, but that's okay. We're just gonna roll with it, because we're not perfect. Well, what do y'all think? There's my eyeshadow. It's a little crazy on the outsides, but that's okay. Alright, so the next thing we're gonna do is our eyeliner, and I'm gonna use Onyx for that, which is our black eyeshadow. If you're scared of Onyx, don't worry, it blends out really well. So you can leave it in the line like I am going to, or you can blend it out really, really well and make it almost a gray. So I like to use this brush. Now, I keep switching them up. This is my current brush. It's kind of, I don't know, it's thick but it's small, if that makes sense. And it is just the current one I'm using. I've been trying a lot of different brushes before I took the stopper out of this because I couldn't reach any more product. I like to use the tip of the brush. So for instance, this color is Pink Frost, so it's obviously not the same, but it has the same tips as LipSense. It has the beveled tip. So it was really easy to just use that as your eyeliner. But when you take the stopper out, it stops taking off the excess product, and it comes out crazy. So I have a little bit on my little brush here. So I'm going to start with this eye. You're not supposed to stretch your eye, but sometimes it's pretty much impossible not to. Okay, so let's see. I tried not to take the wand out of this one because it tries to explode because I took the stopper out. I like a really bold line, so as soon as this sets, I'm going to go back and do a second pass over it. There's my little wing. I've been getting better at winged liner. It's not as easy as it looks. Although that probably looked difficult because I'm not very good at it. So I'm gonna extend this just a little bit more. Because I like a pretty bold line. And there's my eyeliner. And then that looks pretty dry. So I'm going to go back for my second pass and bolden up this line. Alright. Pretty smooth. Now I'm probably going to mess this one up. It's usually how it goes. This side is really hard for some reason. Do you ever have one side of your face that's a lot harder than the other one? It's weird. This side's really easy for me, but this side's really hard. I think because my hand's in the way. Well, that was weird. See, I told you I was gonna mess this one up. What the heck am I doing to my face? Well, they're almost even, kind of. This one's a lot higher. We're just gonna roll with it. Alright, so that one looks pretty bold, so I'm just gonna stick with it. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of my Sandstone Pearl on the bottom of my lines to get them to a little bit of a sharper point, because I suck. Winged eyeliner is hard. If you guys have ever tried it, you know my struggle. Sandstone Pearl for the win. Alright, now we have nice eyeliner. And then, so the next thing I'm going to do is called UnderSense. So this is the first thing that goes on your lashes when you're using this process anyways. So it's gray, obviously, and it's going to coat my lashes, make them really thick and really long. And personally, I hate this wand. I absolutely hate this wand. Can you see it? It's very wide, not my kind of wand. So I have this old mascara that's all dried up, and this wand is much more fine-toothed. So I'm going to use this, and then I'm going to go over it with this to spread them out. You can also use like a safety pin. Tweezers I'll use a lot. They work pretty well. So I'm just going to go and give them a quick coat. I'm trying to spread them out with this one and it's not working. So obviously it looks weird because it's gray, but this should be much thicker and much longer now. Okay, they look pretty spread out, so we're just gonna roll with it. Oh, I should have curled my lashes. I have one of these eyelash curler things, but I never use it. I'm always scared I'm going to rip them out of my face. Okay. While I'm waiting on that to dry, doesn't take very long, but might as well do something else in the meantime. I'm going to go in with my chocolate cherry blush and give my face some depth. So this is going to make me not look so pasty. Oh, that was a lot. I'm just going to spread that around a little bit. Okay. Come out. There we go. Looks like I'm almost out. Okay, and then, if you guys remember the blush brush that I got a couple weeks ago in, I want to say BoxyCharm, that's what I use now. You can use, I used to use these, the real fat ones, I really like those, but this one is a bit thinner, so it works pretty well. And it's also really dirty. So I'm just going to kind of blend this in. Should have put my hair up so it wasn't in my way. The reason I usually choose chocolate cherry is this. So it looks brown in the tube and it looks pretty intimidating. But when you put it on, you start to notice the more of the cherry effect. So it makes it look like your radiant glow is coming from within your skin. And that is the big reason I like our cream products, our liquid products, because liquid blends in with your skin and makes it appear that the colors are coming from within your skin. Powder sits on top of your face and comes off much easier. So I'm going to make this kind of bold and crazy here for a second because as soon as I put my finishing powder on, or my translucid powder, it's going to kind of set my whole face. It's going to tone it down a lot. So it's going to look a little much here for a minute, but that's okay. It's supposed to. So that was chocolate cherry. That's what it blended out to be. And then I'm going to go in with bronze, which is a bit darker. And that's what I'm going to use for my contour. So just a tiny bit. Bronze. And this I want to stay in a more thin line. So I'm going to pinch my brush and kind of try to make it stay a little bit more thin. And now that I got it all over my ear, And then I'm going to take whatever is left on this brush, pinch it again so it's kind of thin, and put it on the sides of my nose. So can you see the difference? How it makes my nose look smaller where that contour is? So it makes it look a little more defined. That's what your contour is doing here too. And then my nose looks small and defined. So I know this looks crazy, but it's okay. Just wait. So I'm going to use the Terracotta color for my blush. That is my favorite. It's not very pink like cherry, but you can blend cherry out a lot too. All of these you can blend out a lot. And I'm just going to get a little bit on my cheeks here. If my hair would get out of my face. And then I'm going to take my beveled brush, blend those in. This is going to look really dramatic too, but it will be toned down as soon as I put my setting powder on. Do you ever do your makeup in bad lighting and you're like, oh, it looks so good, and then you go in the bathroom or somewhere where there's natural light and you're like, whoa, what did I do to my face? That was me this past week. Or you do it in bad lighting and you think it looks horrible, and then you go out in the lighting and you're like, oh, this looks really good. Why can't I do this all the time? Okay, so now that I look super crazy, I'm going to finish my lashes. So I use Black LashSense. I'm just going to cover all that gray. My favorite thing about this mascara specifically is it doesn't flake. Flaky mascara is probably my worst enemy. Alright, I don't want to stick that back in yet. So I'm going to go and separate these. Those don't want to separate. Gonna have to use my tweezers if I can find them. Okay, well, I'm just gonna use this little mixing brush. Okay, good enough, I suppose. Make sure I covered all the gray. Can't really tell until I take a picture. All right. Separate these out. Okay, those look pretty good. And now my lashes are long and luscious. Alright, did I forget anything? Sure did. Alright, so under this, I'm going to go in with my natural concealer and put it down here so it's not so crazy. And then I'm going to use the brush that I use for my foundation, since this is just natural concealer. Kind of make these lines a little bit better. Alright, we are almost done. Okay, so now for my eye bags, I'm going to go in with my eye illuminator. Kind of brighten that up a little bit. Can you tell the difference? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And I'm going to bring it down a little bit to bring a little bit of lightness to my cheeks. I look crazy. Alright, so that was my eye illuminator. One of my last things I'm going to do is highlight. So this is on Pearlizer. And then same brush I use for my foundation. I'm just kind of using the tip of it. See how it's beveled? I'm just kind of using this tip. I want to make this pretty dramatic too. That way whenever I put my powder on, it doesn't tone it down too much where you can't see it. That had been my issue with blush and contour lately. You couldn't even see it because I wasn't making it dramatic enough. Alright, so I'm going to take my translucid powder. So I just take the cap off because I hate this brush. You can either pound it out of this, or you can just take the tube and get a little bit on your palette. So I'm going to take the end of a brush to kind of spread it out a little bit. That way it's not collecting all in one part of my big brush. So it's not all in one spot. So I'm just going to kind of tap it in there. Tap it off so it's not too congested. I start down here because that's where I already put my concealer. That's where I know I want a lot of product. So I tap it out right there and then kind of get it all over my face. And then look how much I already toned down my contour and blush. That's why I make it so crazy. Because this, crazy. But this looks natural. So I'm going to get a little bit more to do the other cheek. Start at my concealed line. Bring it up. Definitely want to get my nose. That's what gets really oily. That's specifically why I use this powder. It's going to soak up the oil that your face produces in the day, so you don't get oily. And then of course my foundation helps that as well. See, now my cheeks look natural. Sort of. So I'm just going to get the rest of the powder, do my forehead. And this powder is what's going to give you that airbrushed look. And then of course its exfoliation helps a lot too. So that's it for my face. Now I look less crazy, huh? Alright, so what LipSense color should I do? That is the real question. So, oh, I got a little heart. I didn't see who it was from, but okay. So I'm thinking most of my colors are in the other room, but here are my immediate options. So we could do First Love, which is a very natural color. Apple Cider is also pretty natural, pretty similar to First Love, but a little bit more pink. We could do Goddess, which is a really pale pink. I have Napa, always obsessed with Napa, and Be Ruby, which is very similar to Napa, but it is more, I don't even know if you can see the difference. So Napa is more of like a grapey purple, where Be Ruby is like a bright pinkish. And these are both Frost, and these are all matte. Which one should I do? Victoria says Apple Cider. Okay. Here, I'll let you see them, if you can read them. Not really sure. Maybe, if it'll focus. So, First Love, Be Ruby, Napa, Goddess, Apple Cider. Any other suggestions? I'll give you guys a second. I know it takes a little bit to kind of catch up. I guess I could clean up while I'm waiting. I miss doing videos with you guys. I haven't done them in a while. My mom was in town. My mom lives in Florida, and she was in town to see me this past week for Christmas because my fiance is deployed, and she didn't want me to be by myself, so she came to visit me all the way from Florida. Alright, last chance. Any other suggestions? So far we just have Apple Cider, which is this one. So First Love, Apple Cider, Napa, Be Ruby, or Goddess. Any suggestions? I'll give you about 30 seconds. Oh, I don't even have anything to wipe my lips off, and I know I have makeup on them. Guess I'll just use my sleeve. That's okay. I wonder if I have witch hazel in here. I don't know. Okay, so far it's just Apple Cider. Any other suggestions? Okay, Apple Cider it is. I haven't worn this color in a long time. I want to say it was like this summer was the last time I wore this color. Okay, so I have a ton of makeup on my lips that need to come off before I put this on. But I don't have my towel. I just recently moved back into my yellow room. It's actually yellow. There's my little painting. We were trying to rent out these rooms, but it didn't work out. So now I moved back in here instead of in my bedroom. In my bedroom we have the really high ceilings, and they were vaulted ceilings, which is why I couldn't have my backdrop, because it wouldn't even reach the ceiling. So, or it would, I could have reached the ceiling with a ladder, of course, but I couldn't, like, the curtain would have been like right here. See, it's already right there. It would have been like up here. So it was just weird, so we didn't do it. Alright, so this is Apple Cider. Those of you that have not used LipSense before, I'll kind of explain how it goes. So it goes on in 3 layers, and they're pretty thin. You want to make them thin. Apple Cider is a matte, so it is one of our thicker colors. So I'm going to start in the center and go out to the corners. That's going to make it so I don't overlap what I've already done. If you overlap while it's still wet, it's kind of like a dry erase marker. If you go one way, you get a nice line. If you go right back over, it takes it off. Same concept. So I'm going to use kind of the beveled tip to line my lips. And then fill them in. So as you can see, it still looks pretty similar to my natural lip color. So you want it to be really, really thin layers. Alright, so I'm going to let this dry really quick so I don't get that dry erase marker effect. The top is dry. I think the bottom needs a little bit more. So we'll go ahead and do our second coat on the top. And the bottom is dry now, so we'll do that one. Alright, so there's 2 layers. This is a pretty easy color. I haven't worn this in so long. I just about punched my mirror. Ah, see? I'm sticking. That's why you need the gloss. Okay, so I'm going to do my third and final layer. Oops, I need to touch it up a little bit. I think I went over it too fast. Alright. Too much. Okay. Perfect. Alright, so I'm going to let this dry really, really good. And then I'm going to put on my glossy gloss. It's almost empty. You can see it's all the way down here. I use it a lot. So this is almost like a peachy color, if you can understand that. Okay, so it's nice and dry. So I took the stopper out of this gloss too, so it's kind of everywhere. Now is when you rub your lips together. I put a lot of gloss on. And as you see, it's not coming off of my fingers. It's not smearing on my face. Don't you just hate when you like run into someone else's face, you know? It's not gonna come off. I have way too much fun with this stuff. Well, I think this was a really good color for today. What do you guys think? Do you like it? Would you wear it? Do you hate it on me? It's okay, you can tell me. I won't be offended, I promise. So, I'm going to go take some pictures for you guys to show you this look that we did. See how crazy my cheeks were? And now they look natural. I promise this stuff works. And don't forget about our money back guarantee. It's 12 full months and bottom of the bottle. So, for instance, let's say you got some foundation and you wanted to try it out. You use the entire bottle in 12 months. I just saw some crazy color right here. Let me fix that. So you had this for an entire year and you used the whole thing and you didn't like it. You can still return it. Pretty cool, right? We don't have a dumb 30-day money back guarantee. No, it's 12 months. So you could return it next Christmas. Look at that. Craziness. Alrighty guys, well thank you so much for watching this super long video. Sorry it was so long. I can't even see my time. It won't even tell me. Well, I will see you guys next time. If you have ideas for other live videos, let me know. Love hearing your guys' ideas. If you liked a certain aspect of this look, let me know. Again, love to hear your ideas, and I'll see you guys next time.